Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. To start things off, Hong Kong based cryptocurrency platform known as Crypto.com has announced the launch of its cryptocurrency exchange on the 14th of November. The Crypto.com exchange is intended to drive the mass adoption of cryptocurrencies by enabling over 1 million users the ability to trade digital assets through the Crypto.com web interface trading API or through its app, creating an exchange that becomes a natural extension and next step to ensure that everything stays in our own ecosystem. This was said during Block Show Singapore 2019. Notable features of the exchange will be liquidity, of course, competitive trading fees, of course, institutional grade custody and security, and intuitive experience through what Crypto.com says is a very easy to use interface. Although Crypto.com already has over 1 million users and is one of the first cryptocurrency companies to have obtained the cryptocurrency security standard requirements, Marzalek noted that the next challenge is to onboard users. He said the Crypto.com platform is trusted, secure, and has never been hacked. Ooh, don't say that out loud. While Crypto.com exchange will initially, so apparently it will initially have support for Bitcoin, of course, Ether, XRP, Litecoin, EOS, Lumens, MCO, and USDT. And meanwhile, the platform will be powered by Crypto.com coin, known as CRO. This native digital token will provide additional liquidity and benefits to users, including liquidity, why twice, low fees, and better execution prices. So Crypto.com is fairly, maybe more previously, well known within the cryptocurrency space. A lot of people who got these domain names in the very beginning were seen as very, very lucky, and Crypto.com was definitely one of them. So they now have a cryptocurrency exchange launched within, it is Hong Kong based. I assume it's for everyone worldwide, but we're seeing an uptick in the amount of, I want to say, Asian based activity within the cryptocurrency space, which was rather lull for a good amount of time, especially as many countries were acting as if they were going to be pessimistic to the growth of the cryptocurrency space. So, I mean, yeah, kind of cool. These same coins keep getting listed over and over. Once again, goes back to the discussion why we keep talking about the same coins. It's because they keep getting listed over and over on different exchanges, except for MCO. I'm going to assume MCO. I don't think that's Monaco. I'm going to assume that this is probably another coin that's affiliated with the exchange, or they probably would have added a larger name. USDT is USDT, and they also are adding their own CRO coin, but Bitcoin, Ether, XRP, and Litecoin are usually the four that get listed everywhere. Let's move on. Next up, EToro X, the digital asset platform of social trading platform eToro, announced the listing of Dash and 7 stablecoins in a press release published on the 12th of November. Per the release, EToro X users can now also trade stablecoins between the Turkish lira, the Polish zloty, the South African rand, and the Hong Kong dollar, alongside US-based stablecoins USDC and Tether. The addition brings the number of assets tradable on the cryptocurrency exchange to 26. Doran Rosenblum, manager director at eToro, commented by saying, "We see the addition of the USDC and USDT as a way for eToro X to further meet the needs of professional and institutional algo traders, particularly in the Asian, in the Asian markets." I just said that. Like, it's something, even the same coins that keep getting added to these different exchanges are usually always the same as well. So we're not really seeing, how do I say this? Usually, if you've been paying attention as well, whenever a crypto exchange, wherever they may be, are adding support for fiat currencies, it's usually the same bucket always. It's always the Turkish lira, it's always the Polish currency, the South African rand, and the Hong Kong dollar. It's very rare that you see the currency of the Philippines, Thailand, usually sometimes Zimbabwe, maybe South American currencies are also far and few in between, but it's always the same ones over and over. Fascinating as well. But we're also seeing this push. I don't know. I want to assume it's simply because of what the Chinese president said. Maybe that everyone else is like, okay, we have to now get back into the Asian markets. But there's definitely something happening there that they're all trying to push very hard the last couple of weeks. We've seen a major uptick in the mention of the Asian cryptocurrency space. I assume it had to do with what the president said. Adding 5 new stablecoins plus the addition of the Dash crypto asset demonstrates our ongoing commitment to bridge the gap between the world of blockchain and traditional financial markets. Apparently, they're also new trading pair for a coin called tokenized gold, or it is tokenized gold. It's called Gold X, and it'll also be against Bitcoin. Cool. Everyone seems to be expanding, and the next thing that's coming up is going to be very fascinating. Remember in 2018, the discussion that we were having, there were far too many stable coins that were being launched at the exact same time, and I said it's really weird that everyone is simply like, I think we had Tether, we had Paxos, we had the Gemini dollar, and there was one other one. No. Some other stablecoin had popped up. We had around 4 that were very popular. Then out of nowhere, I think there were about 7 that popped up in Europe in 1 month, and there were about 15 more that popped up in the States. We had a whole bunch that were tied to the Chinese currency, the Hong Kong this, and the so-and-so that, and the blah, blah, blah this. And I think by the end of the year, we had a chart, and it said there were over 196 stablecoins, and I was like, that's a lot. Like, where's that coming from? Where was the interest? So what I assumed had happened is that governments had become friendly with the idea of stablecoins simply because it was a way of not circumventing Bitcoin, but it was a way of getting into, or rather still having dominance of their local currency, but simply in a digitized manner, as many of the stablecoins that we're launching simply were announcing, we're just digitized. And every one so they say, air quotes, on a one-to-one basis of the digital currencies that we release, we hold that much in the allotted amount of currency from the country that we're actually coming from. So I was like, okay, there has to be some sort of correlation between that. And I think that still holds true simply because of the adoption rate of stablecoins and how often regulators are okay with these coins being put onto cryptocurrency exchanges. However, at the same exact time, this leads us into the discussion of the getting away of the dominance of the US dollar and how certain people, we can guess who, aren't too happy about this. When you enter a realm where you no longer have to actively rely on the usage, because especially in a digital world, where imagine a world where there are hundreds of cryptocurrency exchanges or crypto banks or crypto this or crypto that and so, where you can swap coins back and forth, and they have the option. You can buy Bitcoin, XRP, Litecoin, Lumens, EOS, Tron, the list goes on, 200 coins. At the same exact time, they also have the ability to be able to swap between, let's say, 70 different stable coins. None of them that actually touch the US dollar. Let's say you decide to one day use a Euro one. You decide to use Libra. You decide to use Coin. You decide to use Kin. You decide to use some other one or some other coin that doesn't really have a direct affiliation with the US dollar, or the US dollar is never actually touched. This ends up being a problem for the issuers of the US dollar. This is why we've seen such a bit of backlash against any country. Remember the International Monetary Forum? Whatever. The IMF had announced that they had told other countries, no, you can't do this. And I assume it's because they're trying to figure out a way. This is just how I feel about it. If everything else in the world, watch a documentary. If everything else is pegged to the usage of the US dollar, you know that there are other countries in the world who can't even sell their own petrol and gas. If they wanted to, it has to be denominated in the US dollar before they can think of selling it. That's not a conspiracy. It's an actual thing. This is why the US dollar has dominance. They've made it so that after the last big war that we had, that everything has to be denominated in the US dollar, and that's why every single time that another country's like, yeah, we don't want to use the US dollar, or why we see this uptick in other countries supposedly buying Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, why this is rocking the foundation of our world, because everything is supposed to be, according to all of these accords and signed paperwork and stuff like that, all be denominated within the US dollar. Look it up. It's a real thing. Like, it's an actual thing in finance. Anyway, so we are slowly, I dare not say rapidly, we are taking steps towards a world where everything is going to be just about completely digital, anything that has value, but even just focusing more on currencies. And this is why I think the adoption rate of stablecoins for other countries is quite fascinating. And this leads us directly into our next story. The US Federal Reserve Board on Friday warned that a stablecoin crisis could wreak havoc on the global economy and outline the steps issuers must take to protect the status quo. See, now it all makes a lot of sense of what I was just talking about. The central bank's prognosis, buried deep in the November edition of its semi-annual financial stability report, rests on a stablecoin worst-case outcome, a run on the issuers in which coin holders panic en masse and demand the return of the fiat they staked. Stablecoins are a form of cryptocurrency that maintain their value, air quotes, by staking themselves to fiat reserves. While the volatility of Bitcoin, the most widely owned cryptocurrency, is a favorable talking point of the detractors, stablecoins are digital currencies backed one-to-one, supposed to be, with a fiat asset or basket of currencies, and designed to maintain a steady value, as they're called stable coins. The report's concern is that something could go wrong with the way the stablecoin works, be it with operations, liquidity, credit. This loss of confidence could lead to a run. This is a very big thing. First of all, I'm not for stablecoins, but what we are, another thing that I've seen people who are usually active objectors to cryptocurrencies, and especially now we're also seeing this new wave of people against stablecoins as far as like regulators, because they don't like Libra, is that they are trying to make sure to continuously use the word confidence, that people could lose confidence. Where is the confidence? People have confidence in the US dollar. People should not have confidence in stablecoins. People don't have confidence in Bitcoin, but one day they could have confidence in Bitcoin. It's this constant working of words. If you say the same word over and over, eventually it permeates into people's heads and people end up thinking or find a way to associate that with something that they've heard, even if they don't. What's the word? Not psychologically. The one that happens when you're not even realizing it. Can't think of the word right now because my brain is going in overdrive. But this is kind of what they're doing. Continuing on, and then I'll jump right back to this. They said in an extreme scenario, holders may be unable to liquidate whatever potentially severe consequences for domestic or international economic activity, asset prices, or financial stability. Since the fraught launch of the Libra stablecoin concept in June, the Fed governors, along with the U.S. regulators and counterparts abroad, have been sounding alarm bells. Beyond the digital currency question, the integration with the mass consumer social media could be disastrous, the report warns. The idea behind that is, if a major entity who is not a government decides to launch their own thing that could be used as a currency, and at some point, think of it this way, this is the argument against it. If no one's really using AOL, if no one, a massive amount of people on the planet aren't using Yahoo, remember Ask Jeeves? I'm sure that just rung a couple of bells in a lot of people's heads. Who knows in 10 years if the world will want to use Facebook? If Facebook is going to be around, where's MySpace? Where's all this other stuff? Imagine a world where a company as big as Facebook, who may be popular now, launches their own currency. People are using it for 5 years. They go through some type of controversial event. People stop using Facebook. I don't like Facebook. I'm moving to another platform. I can't stand Facebook anymore. What happens to that reserve currency that they built, that other people were using, and that people can be very fickle with and kind of say, well, I kind of like Ken. You know, the name is a lot shorter than Libra. Like, it could be anything. The world that we live in right now is that you are typically tied to whichever country you are born in. Whichever country you're born in, you may travel around. However, you probably live where you were born, if not somewhere else. Even if you have moved somewhere else, you are still tied to using that one currency. In a world in the future where everything is online, where everything is digital, You can one day choose to use Libra. You can the next day choose to use Bitcoin. The next day you can choose to go, I'm going to pay some of my friends in XRP. You can choose which currencies you want to use. Did not mean to rhyme there, but this is scary for governments because they are used to everyone being in a certain box and the invisible borders that we have around the world and telling you, well, you're in this box, you have to use this. Imagine a world where you could wake up and not have to use one currency. You could use hundreds. This is happening around the world as well. I was discussing with a friend about some other cryptocurrencies, especially coins that have private transactions and the actual usage of them. And they were saying what's fascinating is that a lot of people, even if it's nothing, air quotes, for illegal practices, people send these coins back and forth between them and their friends because they simply might like the ring of Monero. They might simply like the idea of using something that uses Mimblewimble as opposed to just simply using Bitcoin. And this, in a way, gives these coins actual value as well as they are actually being used. But this makes no sense to governments, and this is why I think they're having a very difficult time when it comes to the understanding as to why other people would want to use these currencies. And to them, regardless of any type of financial crash, financial meltdown, financial something, wherever you are, you still have to use that fiat currency in that country. Everything could fall to rubbles and ash. You would still be required to use that as a means of value. Imagine if there's an economic crash and people simply go, well, we don't want to use the US dollar anymore, we'll use something else. That is then a threat to that country and the economic power of that country or any other country who so and so and so. Do you understand now how this is all meshing together? The idea was that many years ago that Bitcoin would be this threat or the immediate threat. But as stable coins are stable, governments fear them a bit more because you can simply shut down Bitcoin and say, well, Bitcoin's not stable. Bitcoin keeps fluctuating. Nobody's going to use Bitcoin to store value anytime soon. But then someone launches something that is almost pegged one-to-one with what you're doing, or even decides to go, yeah, we're a social media platform, let's make money. It scares regulators because their idea is, and I mean, it's true to a certain point. We've seen a rapid evolution of the internet. Like, imagine all the websites that you used to use that you no longer use. I can think of about 50 off the top of my head. Imagine if they had created a currency that became popular in the world and everyone in the world is using it, or let's say even 25% of the people in the world are using it or have access to it, have used it in some sort of capacity over the course of a year. That website goes bust. It gets hacked, it shuts down, nobody wants it, nobody so and so and so. Some celebrity on Twitter is like, use this one instead, and everyone flocks over to that one. What happens to that other currency in a world economic basis? They said, in an extreme scenario, I'm able to liquidate. Since the front launch of the Libra stablecoin, read that. Stablecoin initiatives that are built on existing large and cross-border customer networks, such as Facebook's Libra, have the potential to rapidly achieve widespread adoption. This has, because it's no longer a situation where, I was just reading something a couple days ago where there was a country, they put their gold on a boat and sent it to another country. Imagine a world where you don't have to print out money and put it on a boat and send it somewhere, where you don't have to fill a boat with gold or palladium and send it somewhere. Imagine a world where you can simply just go, I'm going to download this client and I'm going to use this and I'm going to send money to my friend. When and where is the US dollar touched? When and how are you touching the US dollar or anything else if you're using a euro stablecoin? I still think that Libra is definitely going to launch. We had news about a month ago that they were in talks with other countries. I assume it's going to be a much softer launch than we originally had anticipated. But I think they're going to be fought tooth and nail to the very end. I'm not for Libra, but I think as far as the adoption of the cryptocurrency space, I think it's going to do absolute wonders for the space. What we're going to see very soon, I think, is a huge crackdown on stablecoins. And this is why this is making sense now. Remember when the Gemini twins launched their coin and they, during their press release, they made every other word was regulation. We regulation believe regulation is regulation, great regulation for regulation. They kept on mentioning how they were regulated, how they were so-and-so. A lot of other coins aren't. And when the IRS, the Fed, the so-and-so figure out where these companies are based and they have not signed up with the SEC or the FCTT, ABC 123, they're going to be in trouble. And then the stable coins that we're going to start seeing launched are going to come from companies, I'm sure they're working on it, like Coinbase, like Paxos, like the Gemini dollar, like all this other stuff. And these will be the things I think that will be tied in some sort of way, a very thin thread to the Fed or to some other place, because they'll probably have to report to them. We made this much this month, and this is how much we have in our coffers, and so and so and so. Very, very interesting to think. I mean, the world, I think, is going to move in a number of directions at the exact same time. Things will become digital, and I think we're going to have a very interesting, and I don't think it's going to be underground. I think they'll work parallel, but it'll be like this really gray area for a long time as far as people using, because I know Kick and Ken haven't fared that greatly because of the strike of the SEC. However, there will be replacements for those. There will be an Alibaba coin at some point. There will be a WeChat coin. There will be all these things that will permeate around the world, and I think that they're going to become so popular that governments really won't know how to deal with them. Anyway, that's the global regulations. Stable coins are becoming big, but governments don't like stable coins. News. Let's move on. This is also an up and down, so wait for this one. The number of Bitcoin ATMs installed worldwide has now surpassed a milestone, surpassing 6,000 machines. Online resource Coin ATM Radar shows that there are currently 6,004 machines installed worldwide. Over 65% of them are in the US. Furthermore, 108 machines have been deployed this month, and data also shows that the average daily number of Bitcoin ATMs installed is 11. Fastest pace this year. Over 3/4 of the machines installed worldwide are in North America, Europe, and only 2% in Asia. The US is home to 3,924 ATMs. Canada has 653. So and so, UK, Austria, yada, 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 yada. Here's a chart right here. This chart is incredibly nice to look at. I remember a time back in my day, it was probably around here, it was almost impossible to find Bitcoin ATMs anywhere. And I mean impossible. I used to go to different cities and countries and like look for them. There were almost none. I remember it was difficult. I remember when they first had, I think, 2 in Paris. I remember when they had over 10 in London. That was great. Like walking by a store and just seeing one sitting there was kind of great. I remember when they were, I think, 2 in Prague. I remember it was difficult finding one in certain parts of the States in the very beginning. And I remember in Canada, even it was like finding one in Toronto was very difficult. And I think at one point we got like 5 or 6 or 7. So that was very, very nice to see. Like in the beginning, the idea was that if we have Bitcoin ATMs everywhere, we can simply buy it in mass whenever we want. It's cool, great, awesome, amazing. And then there was like a website where you could type in like Bitcoin ATM in my city. Oh, there's none in my city. I'm not traveling for like 4 hours to figure out how to do this. This was also around the time, notably around here, when local Bitcoins was huge. Everyone was using local Bitcoins because there were no ATMs, and I guess the growth of the ATM market has made it so that the local Bitcoins market has not suffered, but what have you. The total number worldwide increased by about 1,000 since June. That's a lot. Showing that the industry is seeing significant growth. Bitcoin ATMs, sometimes referred to as BTMs, not normally, allow users to buy Bitcoin, while over 35% of machines also have two-way capabilities, enabling selling crypto for cash. This is great. This is wonderful. Adoption's great. Adoption's beautiful. You all know where this is heading. I'm sure some of you can feel exactly where this was going. The same way that we saw stable coins being listed, and this stable coin was doing so and so, and then we saw that there was someone who had a problem with stable coins. As the growth of Bitcoin ATMs has exploded, United States Internal Revenue Service Criminal Investigation Chief John Fort says that the regulator is looking into potential tax issues caused by Bitcoin ATMs and kiosks. This is why we can't have anything nice. According to Bloomberg Law on the 15th of November, Fort said that the IRS is collaborating with law enforcement to investigate illicit uses of new technologies like cryptocurrencies, he said, and I do quoteth. We're looking at those and the ones that may or may not be connected to bank accounts. In other words, if you can walk in, put cash in, and get Bitcoin out, obviously we're interested potentially in the person using the kiosk and what the source of the funds is, but also in the operations of the kiosk or operators of the kiosks, end quote. 1, never do anything illegal. 2, make sure that what you're doing is legal. Look at the little face up here. Make sure that what you're doing is legal. 3, understand law. Start reading stuff. Start understanding. Because remember the situation that we had before in 2018 where many countries were announcing that cryptocurrencies were illegal, that this was illegal, that so-and-so was illegal, but none of it had been put in writing. Remember the podcast that we were discussing earlier this year? There was a guy in Africa, and he was, I can't remember which podcast it was. This was months and months and months and months and months ago. And the podcaster was discussing with the guy, and he was like, how is Bitcoin adoption in your country? He said, it's very, very slow. He said, is it because it's banned? He said, no, it's not banned in my country. He said, I read online that it was banned. He said, no. He said he went to the local law office and said, can you please show me the document that states that Bitcoin is illegal? And the guy went to the back, searched through all the files. I can't find anything. He went to another law office, couldn't find anything. He said he searched online, went through different channels, found out that all that happened is that regulators or law enforcement something went on TV, said it was illegal, nobody used it, it's dangerous, it's evil. He said there was nothing on the books, and there is nothing on the books that's stopping anyone from actually buying, selling, holding, or using Bitcoin. He said it's completely legal in the country, but when you ask people about it, they're terrified because they heard someone on the news say that it was illegal when there's no law anywhere claiming that it is illegal. So always know your law. Make sure that what you're doing is legal and that you have no problems later on down the line. The point being, crypto, Bitcoin, BTMs, ATMs, whatever you want to call them, TMs, are legal just about everywhere. This is difficult. This is difficult, very difficult. We're going to start seeing a crackdown on Bitcoin ATMs, I think, relatively soon. I don't know if you've seen them. I've definitely seen them. The original Bitcoin ATMs were just like a box, kind of. You put money in, you scan your code, you get the Bitcoin. The ones that we're seeing popping up now have cameras and stuff on them. I'm pretty sure a couple of you are like, yup, definitely seen those. My friends don't use those. I think it's a little weird. This is just me personally, how I feel about it. Owning Bitcoin is not illegal, and owning fractions of it is not illegal, and buying fractions of it is not illegal either. Why would you have to be known person using the kiosk for buying something? You don't have to be known. You can hand somebody cash if you're buying gold, if you're buying silver in a store. You can even buy an entire car for cash. You can do tons of things completely in cash. But I find it very weird that there's a correlation with doing something illegal, air quotes, when you're doing something legal, especially if it's in US dollars or in any other whatever currency, paying for it and just getting back Bitcoin. Why would you have to be known when you're doing something? Like, make a list of the things in your head that you can buy with cash. That could even be investments. Why is Bitcoin singled out now over the last couple of months as something that government agencies have to know that you're buying when you can buy other things that also have value and can be resold? Like, think of whatever. According to Coin ATM Radar, there are now 4,100 Bitcoin ATMs and tellers in the US. Enables users to buy and sell cryptocurrencies in exchange for a fee. Bloomberg claims there is no such machine. And basically, the tax situation, it talks about it down here. As always, Make sure whatever you're doing is legal in your country, wherever you are. It's not difficult. Usually the laws are posted on websites. They make sure in some sort of way that you have access to this. It's not normally hidden. Google if Bitcoin is legal in your country. If owning Bitcoin is legal in your country, can you buy Bitcoin legally in your country? We are going to see, and it's going to happen. I mean, there's really no way around it. We're going to see a shift, and I think very soon, where government agencies are going to be, I think, asking if you bought cryptocurrency. They're going to also, and I feel like part of this is just gauging the interest. Like, remember about a month ago where we had the thing from Coinbase and they were talking about, I think, what was it, like 50 million people just within the US own Bitcoin? I think governments are trying to see exactly how popular these things are. But the movement towards seeing with a camera or even having to know who the person is buying it. Like, imagine buying a gold coin, half an ounce, around $600, $700. You can do that in cash. Imagine buying $100 in Bitcoin, but you have to reveal your identity. Very, very odd. Anyway, it's great how news lines up. I mean, if nothing else, I saw the article about the Bitcoin ATMs everywhere, and then the very next thing was like, nope, we're going to start cracking down on them. What I assume is going to happen, and this is just an assumption, obviously, but things line up too well sometimes. Don't be surprised if agencies start cracking down on Bitcoin ATMs. A lot of them disappear, and then next year Coinbase goes, guess who has Bitcoin ATM? And you start seeing these Coinbase machines all over the place. It's just how things are, but it is what it is. Here's the actual Bloomberg law report. It says IRS turns critical eye towards crypto ATMs and kiosks. Because of course, why not? Wouldn't it make, how much more sense would it make? Think of it this way. If they gave cryptocurrency regulations, I know it sounds crazy, right? I mean, 3 years of waiting. If they gave cryptocurrency regulations and simply told people how much they had to pay in taxes if they sold those cryptocurrencies, I feel like that would solve a lot more problems and heartache, and it would solve a lot of tension if they just told people what they had to do instead of trying to scare them. Imagine fostering this new space and simply saying, you can do it, we just have to tax you. And everyone goes, oh, that's fine. I made $35 million. I don't care. I'm buying an island. But fear always works a lot more than love. So that's just how things are. And let's move on. Next up, Binance is rolling out support for the Turkish lira once again. Same currencies over and over and over. Binance is launching support for the Turkish lira. An updated list of coins available for purchase on Binance.com reveals that the exchange is working with the digital wallet company known as Bakkt to offer Bitcoin, Ether, and XRP in exchange for the lira. So far, Binance does not allow customers to sell crypto assets for the lira, which is fine as long as money goes into the market. Here's papara. Then sure, why not? So Binance has added new currency. Awesome. I think this is what, like number 10 or something like that. They added the Singaporean dollar, the US dollar, the euro. I think the Japanese yen. I think the Canadian dollar. I feel like the South African rand is also part of that as well. I would assume the Polish currency is also it. Maybe the Swiss franc as well. Not too sure. Anyway. Another currency. Cool. If you're in Turkey and you've been looking to buy some Bitcoin, some Ether, and some XRP, there you go. To kind of finish things off, digital asset trading platform Bakkt says it's gearing up to support retail traders. Mike Bladina, Chief Product Officer at Bakkt, confirms the company is looking to launch a retail brokerage account featuring cryptocurrencies. He said, "We want to unlock the value of digital assets through consumer payments. Yada, yada, yada. We read this part of this yesterday. The interesting part is, where is it? Allow people to go to Starbucks, get coffee, they're a partner. Images of Bakkt insider emails are circulating on Twitter. They show the company may be testing a consumer app that will allow users to manage, store, trade, and transfer their cryptocurrency assets. They said our consumer app is currently being tested as we approach launch just 1 year after our official announcement. Here's someone, they took a screenshot of the actual email that they got from Bakkt announcing this. The news that we had before was that the Bakkt app was going to launch and would allow people to use their cryptocurrencies at Starbucks, at Nordstrom, at this place, at that. And I was like, cool, wonderful, amazing. No one's going to do it because everyone's anticipating Bitcoin to go up in value, but cool, we have the option to do so. The secondary part is apparently the launch of their cryptocurrency trading platform, which we also heard about in November of last year, which still has not launched, and I was questioning if it was ever going to launch, and lo and behold, probably going to happen relatively soon. I would say they may spring it on us by the end of this year. I could also see a Q1 2020 launch kind of thing. Everyone's waiting for 2020 to announce all their really big things. But yeah, if you're not excited for the New York Stock Exchange to launch their own cryptocurrency trading platform, you're not paying attention. I think maybe the future space got a bit of attention. People were kind of interested, but I mean, this is huge. If this is real. Anyway, I thought that was fascinating. Give me like half a second. For some reason, I never think into the future that I'm going to actually have to use my phone or use something else, and I end up just walking away and don't even have the thing next to me. Okay, here we go. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Mohair Maroney, Master Ventures in Thailand, Brady Niels, Woody and Daisy, Triple M and J, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Adobo, Milweezy Mechanic, Strange Radio Central, Crypto Artist, Cole D, 3D, Cryptopolis, Nicholas Run Earth, One Piece, One Love, Damian Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Rich, The Third, Vlad the Impaler, Krypton Beer Shipmate, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Garner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hitch Test Every Day, and Kyle Skips Leg Day. Yes. 2, Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Sambu Ucha, Ting Tang Walla Walla Bing Bang, Anytime Fitness, Monk's Corner Staff, and Shoop Shoop, Diddy Wop, Hummer Hummer, Wang Dang. Thank you all very, very much for your support. At the moment, the cryptocurrency market looks like it's trying to do something, and I'm wondering if it's going to be able to do something. Yesterday, Bitcoin is right here on the chart. For those of you not looking, it's a dip and a scoop, or a dip and a poop, dip and a jump. Something is happening here. Yesterday, we had indications from analysts that Bitcoin was looking like it was going to drop down to $8,200 US if it did not stay above $8,400. What ended up happening is that the price went down a tiny bit a couple of hours ago. And since, I think even before I started making this video, this jump was right around here. Bitcoin is currently looking like it's trying to go up above 1%. I think what's happening is people are just trying to hold the support line, which appears to be 8,400. I saw a lot of the, I'm glad I didn't even show you those articles. The amount of people talking about and smiling as they're saying it as well during interviews, that Bitcoin was going back to 4,000, Bitcoin's going back to 2,000. They think that Bitcoin just simply can't hold, and Bitcoin looks like it's about to go much lower. And I was like, sure. Keeping in mind, everyone, the thing that we were just talking about a day or two ago about the coordinated drop and how that happened exactly on November 15th. I'm still waiting for a drop. And it's not even that I'm being pessimistic or bearish. It's more like Things are working out too coordinatedly amongst people within the cryptocurrency space. It's really weird that we have tons of good stuff happening, and then all of a sudden, almost every website, all the analysts are talking about how bearish things are going to get a day before the Bcash hard fork. And then when nothing happens, everyone's like, yeah, it has to hold the support. You know, things could go back up. And it's like, yeah, sure, go sit down somewhere, please. Tether's going down, which means that logically the market is in green and is going up. Everything looks like it's trying to spike. We'll see exactly what the rest of the day holds for us. If we're going to see more green, I'm trying not to hold my breath for whatever reason it might be worth. I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, great morning, great afternoon, great evening, great weekend. Wherever you are, wherever you might be, I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See